welcome back to House of 1000 Haunts. I am Stevie Stone.
And I am Dwayne Stone.
We are Destination Stone on YouTube. So guys, today's episode is on a haunt we checked out in October for the first time in Blacksburg, South Carolina, the Fear Farm.
Has 6 different haunts inside of it. The Abyss, Mineshaft Mayhem, The Coven, which is their new haunt for this year, Confinement, Twisties, and the Farmhouse. We did talk to the owners, and she did say that every year they change it up and add something new. And like I said, this year, The Coven is the new thing.
So fun! Everybody's doing witches. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I did notice that during October, the haunts we went to, a lot of the newer areas and some spots were witch things.
Well, that is because, I don't know if you notice, in the last year or more, witches are just become more popular.
Yeah.
It's even in, we watch wrestling, if you guys didn't know that, and there's even a lot of witches in wrestling too. Wrestling is very big about keeping up with the times, so if you see it popping up in wrestling, it's in the mainstream, you know? And yeah, witches have just become another one of those monster type characters that cycles through and becomes popular. You know, like zombies become popular sometimes. The vampires. Everything cycles through. Right now it's witches.
That's cool though. It's cool to see witches finally get like a
what they deserve. What we deserve.
I remember whenever I was a kid, I really was into Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead, and I was always like, why is there no more zombie stuff? Be careful what you wish for, because that was around the time when what's that show called?
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead got popular and ruined it for everybody.
Can't even remember it now.
Yeah, I can't even remember because
that was severely overdone. Oh my gosh, that's a whole other. We won't even get into that.
Killed the zombie genre. Anyway, continue on.
Before we continue discussing the Fear Farm, let's talk about what we're drinking tonight. I've actually got me a QT coffee. It's our very first, well, not the first, but our first local QT where we're living now.
There's no QTs there. Now we finally have one, so I've got me a coffee
to energize us because we are headed to another haunted house. I know you're all like, what? You're all just going, yes. Terror and Toyz. We'll travel for Terror and Toyz if you didn't know. And Dwayne, what do you have?
I just got a Coke Icy from QT.
If you're watching on the YouTube video. Thank you so much to the Fear Farm for granting us the VIP experience. So we got to check it out VIP style. It was very interesting because it was 6 different walkthroughs, and it actually felt like 4. And I say that because I also say 6 different walkthroughs because you get in line, you walk through the house, and then there's a break for another line. You don't go into the midway or anything like that. You're just continuing, but there's a break, and you either go into the general admission line or you go into the VIP. And that only happened like, I think 4 times, because through the Abyss had its own walkthrough. Then there was Mineshaft Mayhem, which led directly into the Coven. Then there was the Confinement, which led directly into Twisties.
Right, yep.
Yeah, and then the Fear Farm
had its own line.
Not the Fear Farm, excuse me. That's the whole place. The farmhouse itself had its own line that you got into, its break. So that was really interesting. So let's dig into this and we'll discuss it further as soon as you pull up into the parking lot. Big parking lot. It's a farm in the middle of the woods. I can't wait to cover more city type haunts because we be covering a lot of farmlands.
It's just what's local to us.
Oh, for sure.
Because of where we're at. And
within like a 4-hour radius.
It's kind of crazy because when we do go to haunts in cities, it's like, whoa, this is weird.
Because it's different for us.
Yeah,
we're
so
used
weird.
to tripping over roots and having dust clouds
and not
invade our noses. And I'm telling you what, man, my nose has been so full of dirt this whole month. Just full of dirt. I can grow some vegetables. Yep. Okay. But you pull up into the parking lot and you buy your tickets right there in the parking lot, and then you walk this really interesting, like, long dirt path, and it opens up to a midway.
It was pretty cool. Like, I really like that. How it was like, you couldn't see the midway from where you bought your stuff, so when you walked up, you're kind of like, what is this?
Where is it?
And
you just see a big sign that says the Fear Farm.
They've got some really cool stuff, like some facades out there that are like a farmhouse and stuff like that. And yeah, that's
for photo ops where you can take photos.
Right, and that's where like the concessions are and the merch booth.
There's a stage out there as well. There's characters roaming.
The stage was cool.
So that's pretty cool because you do have to wait for your letter on the back of your ticket. They will call a letter, and you're kind of grouped in that way, so you don't have to be fully conga lined through. And a lot of haunts are like figuring out different methods to not like deter you from, or not deter you, but keep you from having to just stand in line, and trying to encourage you to enjoy the midway activities.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. Just trying to find ways to make it where you don't have to stand in line for thousands of hours like we did at The Walking Dead. Again, that's another story. Oh my God, Universal Studios. Get it together. Anyway, so we get in line because if you have a VIP ticket, by the way, you don't have to wait for that letter. You just go in whenever you want to.
Right.
So since we had the VIP experience, we were able to just go on in, and the first house was the Abyss. Now, the Abyss is completely dark, and we were asked to not film because it was dark.
Right, he wanted us to experience it.
And I'm not mad at that. You know why? Because we filmed so much.
I don't remember the last time I didn't film a haunted house.
So it was like, you know what?
It was fun. It was really cool. It was pretty much just like she said, pitch black dark.
It was pitch black. There was a lot of like tight spaces that they built with plywood. There were a lot of those masked figures that have the lights on their face that look like from The Purge.
Right. And
they were in there. They were popping out. They kept getting me pretty good. That was really funny. So there was a lot of that in this house, and it was like it felt like in a house. It wasn't just on a trail. So you were walking up and down stairs felt like little crazy corridors, back and forth, zigzagging, and those little Purge kids were chasing you. But then it opened up, and the lights opened up, and I thought it was saving grace, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. This massive spider, I don't even like saying the word, I usually just say bug, dangling his ugly fat legs at me.
It was a big animatronic, and he was going in and out of this hole, and the way that they had him moving, it looked like his legs were moving.
Like he was running at you.
If you watch the video, it looks really good on the video.
Oh, it's so disgusting.
Looks so good on the video.
I couldn't look directly at him. Like, I actually looked at him for a second through the lens because I was holding the camera, and I was thoroughly disgusted. Again, if you haven't seen the video, I'll have it linked in the show notes.
The lady that was in there was getting a kick out of you screaming like that. She was like laughing.
Good
it was
for
so
her.
funny.
I hated it. Right after that, though, the nasty spider spot, there was a break like I was talking about earlier.
Yep.
And you got in line again, and this time it was for the Mineshaft Mayhem, which actually bled into the Coven. And the Mineshaft Mayhem was wicked because they used pallets and they built them up from the ground, and curved it over your head. And it just
really looked like
I loved it. I thought it was so
neat.
cool. Like, this one was really a lot more of just ambiance.
Right.
And
Jeff and Jeff.
And no, James and James.
James and James.
There was two bros in there. They were both named James following us around.
Because
that was funny.
And the reason I know that is because they were wearing like suits, like auto mechanic suits or whatever, like they were working on the mine shaft, and they each had their name tag. Oh yeah, thanks James. And he goes, He goes, which one? And I'm like, oh, are you James too? He goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, James and James. He's James and James. And they followed us out. It was funny. Yeah, Steve called him JJ.
Then it started to merge into the coven, and we noticed a lot of, it looked like sheets hanging outside on a clothesline, but they were hides, like drying.
That was really cool.
Yeah, and that...
A lot of the witches were telling us to watch out for their spell-casting sister. So it's like, wait a minute, y'all are witches, though. Aren't y'all all spell-casting?
Right. But they were warning us about somebody, and then that led into a house that said it was Hildred's house.
Yeah, Hildred, yeah.
Yeah, and Hildred was the one that we got up on this, it just looked like a walkway, but then she cast some spells, and the whole floor tilted.
It was crazy. It was pretty crazy.
That was cool, though.
Yeah, it was.
We've actually encountered that a couple times at some different haunts, but they utilized it in different ways. After that, you get into an elevator.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the
and
elevator.
It takes you to confinement, which is another walkthrough. So there's a break after the elevator. That's so cool. Like, the elevator took you to the next one. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And it had a really killer facade. It was kind of like on either side of you. And there was some girls screaming off to the left, and like straight ahead, it had a really killer facade.
There was a guard.
There was a guard like up high, walking around.
Giant taser.
Yeah, it was so wicked. And then you pretty much like walk through the prison. I remember going in and seeing phone booths lining the wall. That looked so cool. Like, it was so simple, but I just loved how they did it. There was a kitchen in there you walk through, and they're like yelling at you. They didn't give you anything to eat.
We went out to the yard.
Yeah, we went into the yard, and they were like had a bunch of workout equipment out there. Like, if you was in prison and you got some outdoor time, you know, go out there to work out. And it led you into the bathrooms, which was stinky, and there was people using the restroom. So I cut the camera at that point. And that led you into the psych ward.
Yeah, psych ward was pretty cool.
They were crazy. They were nuts.
They were in psych ward.
They called Dwayne Beardy.
Oh yeah, the chick was calling that one guy Spiky because he had spiked up hair.
Spiky, and you were beardy.
And then I came around the corner and she goes, oh, and you're beardy. And then whenever I went by her and she goes, oh, or pony, she goes, whoa, your hair is long. Like, she almost broke character. It was hilarious.
People, it is almost 9 times out of 10, some haunt actor inside the haunt says something about Dwayne's hair. They always say something about his hair, his beard, and his hair. It's
Touch
hilarious.
haunts love to grab it and pull it and
and I have orange hair, and they're all about him.
That one lady, and where was it? The haunted hotel. The nun. Remember, she wanted to cover me in water. I was soaking wet when we got out of there. That was crazy.
After the psych ward area, it leads you directly into Twisty's Tricks and Treats, which was a treat because, oh my goodness, okay, of course it's clowns. So you're just walking through some clown stuff, but you take this left at one point, and on either side of you are these really wicked facades of carnival games.
It was really good.
Oh my goodness, I thought
really
we were
good.
walking into a movie set. It was so cool. And they were on either side of you and straight ahead. And honestly, the whole feel of it really reminded me of Little Monsters.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with that movie. If I can find it anywhere online to watch, I will link it in the show notes in the description below so you can watch that. It's one of my favorite movies. Holds up. Yeah. After confinement in Twisties, you get another break and you get in line again and you see the farmhouse. It has an awesome facade, and there's grandma rocking in her chair outside. Once you walk inside, you walk into the living room, and it is very reminiscent to me of like the Haunted Mansion at Disney, because the ceilings are so tall. It just made me think of like that, and they had a bunch of pictures on the wall, and a video starts to play, and he's explaining the story of the farmhouse. and he says, if you're not too scared, continue through the fireplace.
And you duck down and go through the fireplace. It was really cool.
That was so neat.
It was crazy because there was only that room and there was 2 fireplaces in there. When you ducked down and went through the fireplace, someone was like, go through the other one. I was like, you can't. And you knock on it, it's hard. But it was like that was the door to the rest of the house.
Yeah.
Because that's all it was. And it was interesting, but at the same time you're like, wait a minute, is this how their house was built? Like for real?
Yeah.
It was cool though. It was really cool. I love going through fireplaces or bookcases. That's one of my favorite things is when you go to a haunt and the first room you go into is a enclosed room and you're like, how are we getting out of this room? And
and it's you have like a secret doorway.
Either the fireplace or they like open the bookcase or like the wall moves. I love that. It's just cheesy little things, but it's I love that. It's so
simple
good.
but fun.
But fun.
Like
yes.
hello,
Fun.
we're creating a new world.
Right.
When you're making a haunted house, there's no rules.
Right.
The only rule is to don't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
That's the only rule. So give me like a fantasy scenario. I want to walk through hidden walls. I want to look through a painting and stare at other haunt walkers walking through, and I'm the eyeballs.
Right.
For the other haunt,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I've gone through far enough, and now I'm the eyeballs looking
Where is it
through
that does that? Like Ripley's or something that does that.
It's Mysterious Mansion.
That's
in
what it was.
Gatlinburg.
That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one too, man.
We need to go
back
there because you know what? You can't film there, but you know what we can do?
We can make a podcast.
We can make a podcast and we can put it in the House of 1,000 Haunts. So we need to do that, Dwizzles.
Yeah.
All right. This was such a cool house. I really enjoyed it. You were just pretty much trying to escape cannibals the whole time. But it was so neat because we've seen this a couple times as well, but they did it really well themselves, where it made you feel like you were walking under, like in between the walls and going through like underneath the stairs. Dwayne said it a couple times this year.
I say it every time we do it
People
now.
under the stairs. If you've never seen that
That's what
movie.
it makes me think of, because in that movie they literally, that's what it looks like in between the walls. It's like everybody
You're hiding in the walls.
depicts it. And man,
It makes me think of an episode of Charmed that had Robert Englund on it.
I would love to find an old house that actually has walls like that and walk through them. I think that would be cool.
Let's get a house to flip that's all decrepit and play with it first.
Oh man.
And then we flip it.
Yeah.
And then somebody buys it and they're like, what is this? And we're like, it's a haunted house. We left it the way it is. Let's get a cool house and just make our own haunted house.
Let's do that.
How does anybody feel about that? We can take all this knowledge and just make our own haunt.
That'd be amazing.
Aha! I really enjoyed the Fear Farm in Blacksburg, South Carolina. Thank you guys again for the VIP experience.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good time. It wasn't too far from us. I want to say
About an hour and a half.
hour and a half or less, and that's great.
Yeah, so again, it was within our radius, and it was the farm district for us. So that no worries, we really loved it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Also, the jack-o'-lantern man that was walking around in the midway.
Oh yeah, we got a picture with him at the end. That was
He was
really
very
cool.
nice.
I did get a shirt from there. The one that I wanted was like the Coven themed shirt, but they didn't have my size anymore. They were out of them.
They ran out.
So I had to deal with just the Fear Farm logo. But it was a really cool shirt. Very cool.
Yeah, still a great shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you guys again for the VIP experience. We'll have the information for Fear Farm linked in the show notes as well if you would like to check them out on haunt season when that comes around. A lot of these haunted houses are open year round, right? So you never know. Be sure to check out their information anyway and see if they might be open if you may be in the area at any time during the year.
They could be doing a seasonal event or
Yeah.
something, because they actually, a lot of haunts do that.
They do. This is why we do this podcast and why we do haunt walkthroughs on our YouTube channel, because we want to see haunts open year round. Like, horror movies come out year round. Why can't haunted houses be open year round?
Right? I would love to hear of a haunt that usually is open during the holidays or the haunt season to say, you know what, we're going to keep y'all hired year round and just stay open. and just having.
How cool is that?
Team.
What do you do for work? Oh, I'm a haunt actor, just year round at this place. I go to work and scare people every day.
Touch haunts would have to do like a touch season and a non-touch season, because man,
You get covered in bruises.
Some of these physical haunts, man,
I'm tired. My body hurts.
Physical.
So guys, if you enjoyed this, be sure to give us a follow and a 5-star rating, and let us know what you think of the podcast in the review section. We love you guys so much. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm Stevie.
And I'm Dwayne.
We are Destination Stone on YouTube, and this is House of 1000 Haunts.